Welcome into today's episode. Today we're going to be covering double opt-in versus single opt-in. Which one should you choose? Which is better? I'm going to be covering the pros and the cons between them. I'm going to be also telling you what I do, and obviously you can make an informed decision as a result. Now, if you're new to this whole concept of generating leads and people joining your email list via your website, there's a whole strategy behind this in terms of making your website more profitable, and you need some fundamentals in place in the first place to do that. Now, I've got a free gift for you that's going to help you with that. It's a checklist that I've put together called Profitable Website Checklist. You can grab it and just go through step by step and see exactly what you can optimize on your own website to prepare to generate leads and improve the results that you're getting on your website. It's a quick 5-minute read, and you should be able to run through it and start seeing some results once you implement those actionable steps that I've got for you. Just head to marlonmcpherson.com/checklist if you want to grab it. Now, if you're new to my content, welcome in. I do content like this to help you, the online entrepreneur who have services around your knowledge and expertise, or like an online program. I help you with strategy for your website and your online content, as well as your email follow-up, so you can convert more leads and sales for your business. My name is Marlon McPherson. You can find me at marlonmcpherson.com. So the concept of double opt-in versus single opt-in, I'll just explain those in the first place. So picture this: someone goes to your website or a landing page that you have that you're promoting, something like a lead magnet. For example, that checklist I mentioned earlier, that is actually one of my lead magnets, and people who find that valuable will go to my website, to that link, and they need to fill in their details in order for me to send it to them. So they're basically saying, hey, yes, I'm interested in this thing, and I want you to send it to me. So they've got to put in their email address, and that's the minimum really, but I ask for the name as well. It's just better for personalization, and it's just a better way to address people by name. That's how I see it. So once they fill in that form that asks for those details, what happens on the back end of your system is that they're supposed to be added to your email list. Now, there are two ways in which it could work. You could have it so that it's a single opt-in where they just join your list immediately, or you could have a double opt-in where they have to take another step by actually confirming before you add them as a confirmed subscriber. So let's talk about single opt-in and talk about why you probably want to use it or why you may not want to use it. So the pros and the cons essentially. So a single opt-in, the first pro is that there's less friction. People immediately are subscribed onto your list. Once they fill out that form and submit it, that's it, they're on your list, and you can theoretically start emailing them immediately. Low friction means you're going to grow your list faster. You're going to get more people signing up as a result. More people are going to go through the process because they're not going to get any hurdles to jump through, any hoops type of thing. That's how they see it, right? You have less setup. That's the second pro. You have less setup to do when it comes to putting together the system, all right? When it comes together when it comes to putting together the strategy in the system for a single opt-in and people joining your list, you don't have so many steps to implement, so therefore it's absolutely easier for you. Now, I'm sure there are other pros as well, but those are the two that I could come up with, to be honest with you. Now, in terms of the cons, I have a few more, or a couple more maybe. So the first con is that you run the risk of getting more spam bots joining your list. So your list is going to get bloated. Your email list is going to get joined by bots, robots that are going around on the internet and filling in forms. We're not talking about like robots that have hands that can type on a keyboard, but these are kind of like software or scripts that are written by people that are smarter than me, I guess, that they go across the internet and try and find forms to fill in. And opt-in forms are vulnerable, or the forms that people fill out to join your email list are vulnerable as a result, because there's no sort of filter to stop them from actually getting on your list. So essentially, you're not going to know who's a real person and who's, well, you probably can tell if you go through your list probably to actually see what's been filled out. But if you're just like going to send out an email to your whole list, chances are you're going to be sending to bots. They're not going to be real people in a lot of the cases, right? So it's a problem. The other thing is you run the risk of being reported by a real person as a spammer, or your email might get flagged as spam. Why? Because people might have forgotten that they've signed up to your email list, and because they didn't go for any further steps to actually confirm, they probably don't remember, and they'll probably just click on that mark as spam button, and therefore you get your email reputation being messed up, because you do have a sending reputation with your email, your URL, the domain name that you use to send emails with. You can eventually get blacklisted if enough people mark you as spam. So it's not good practice. The other thing is that it's not encouraged by GDPR. So GDPR is a regulation here in the EU and the UK, as well as probably other countries in Europe as well, that governs people's data and how people's data should be handled. I don't think it's a mandatory thing that you should have double opt-in for GDPR, but it's something that they do advise you to have in place, because it's just better for just the confidence of handling people's data. There are similar regulations across in other countries in the world, North America and so on, that actually says it's better to have a double opt-in, because you at least people that are on the list actually intended to be there. Somebody could actually fill out anyone's email address if you have a single opt-in and maliciously add you to a list. So that's something that you wanna avoid happening, when then you end up getting complaints. Now let's talk about double opt-in. So double opt-in is where you now have an extra step added in between someone signing in or filling in that form and them actually joining the list. So there's a go-between, there's an in-between. That in-between is that you have what's called a confirmation email that gets sent out to their inbox to say, hey, please confirm that you wish to join our list. And they have to confirm that, yes, this is my email address, and I do want to actually subscribe. I do want that thing that you're promising, and I do want to hear from you. So they have to click a link or a button inside that email to confirm. And once they do that, the system knows that they've taken a positive and affirmative action to say that I want to be on that list. If they don't take that action, they don't click the link or the button, they just hang around in a pending zone inside your email software. And most of the times you have to delete those people, because they're not going to come back and find that email to actually confirm, because by then they've forgotten about it. If they haven't done it there and then, most likely they've forgotten about it, or they've changed their mind, or they're just not as interested as you thought they were. So now that you understand how that works, here are the pros and the cons of it, right? So the pros is obviously going to be the opposite of single opt-in for the most part. So you get better quality leads. This is one thing that I do find. Better quality leads come through as a result, because people have to take that extra step, and therefore that tells you that they're more engaged. If someone, as far as I'm concerned, can't take a simple little step to go and confirm, look for an email and confirm by just clicking a button, if they can't take that extra step, to me, that's someone you're probably going to have to drag to the finish line. They're not as interested, right? You want to have people on your list that are going to be engaged. They actually are action takers, essentially, and they're not just tire kickers that are just there being lazy and seeing what they can get. So it acts as a filter, if anything, to weed out people that are not serious, or weed out people that are likely not going to be good fits for your business, or probably they're not going to end up buying your service or your product, right? Most likely. The next thing is that it blocks spam bots. As far as things stand, spam bots, they cannot actually go in and click a link. They can't go in and get that email and click a link because of how it's set up, as far as I understand. So it actually filters out those spam bots. So if obviously it goes away into the ether when the email gets sent out for the confirmation and no one is there to confirm it, they're not going to join the list. The next thing is that it's more compliant with regulations, as I've talked about with GDPR and any other kind of privacy or data laws or regulations across the world. You're much more likely to be on the safer side or the safe side by having double opt-in in place. And is it the fourth one? Yeah, the fourth thing I want to mention in terms of the pros is that your emails will get delivered more reliably. I mentioned before that if your email reputation dips because people are marking you as spam, or because you're sending emails to fake email addresses, like somebody make a mistake on an email address, that's another downside to single opt-in. You could genuinely have somebody have a typo in their email and they don't get that confirmation email to say to confirm one way or the other. So now you have a bad email address on your list if you have single opt-in. Whereas with this, if someone has a typo, they wouldn't get the email to confirm. So they'll most likely go back and fill out the form again if they're that serious, if they're serious enough. And hopefully they would have double checked their email address at that second attempt to make sure that it goes through. And hopefully they would have gotten that confirmation email to then go and click the link. So if you're delivering emails to more inboxes that people are opening, and there's a level of interaction there where people are clicking the link to come back to, if they click a link within your email, the systems that send out emails actually sees this, the spam filters see this, and they realize, you know what, there's an engagement here. If people click on your links, that means they want to hear from you, and there's a conversation most likely happening. And they're much more likely to send your future emails to the inbox as opposed to the spam folder or the spam category inside your email tool, or like Gmail, for example. Now the cons, obviously you have more steps for your subscribers to go through. So again, I've said this could be actually a pro, but if you're looking to reduce friction, this is not the way to do it. In fact, there's a system that I'm going to talk about. There's a workaround where we could actually have single opt-in in place, but we do a virtual or a fake double opt-in, or a simulated double opt-in, more like. This is something that I've learned about and I've been testing inside my email marketing system, but I'll tell you about that in another tool, in another episode, on another occasion. Today is about just comparing the two. So it's a slower way to build your list. If you're looking to get more people on your list faster, double opt-in is going to obviously reduce the numbers and the frequency at which people join your list, because there'll be a drop off with people not actually going in and clicking the link. Yes, of course, you don't need a big list. Despite what you might think, you don't need a big list to actually generate great revenue from it. You just need the right people on your list. And that is why having a filter in place naturally with double opt-in is going to actually help you do better at that. There are people with thousands or hundreds of thousands of people on their email list, but they're not engaged. And people with smaller lists are doing much better in terms of revenue than these people with larger lists, because the smaller list is more engaged. They have the right people that are looking for that thing that you're helping with, and as a result, they're much more likely to buy what you have to offer, rather than having a bunch of people that are just coming in randomly and too easily, and they're not really taking action. That's not what you want with your list. And in fact, it's going to cost you money. The bigger your list, the more it costs you to store the list in the software. Normally with email marketing software, you have to pay based on list size. And also when you send out emails, if you have to send out an email broadcast to all these people, it costs you a lot more money as well. So that's my take on it. I think if you haven't worked out by now that you should have double opt-in in place. And in a future episode or in some kind of other content, I'm going to talk about the simulated double opt-in, in which case you would have single opt-in switched on, but you can actually get the benefit of double opt-in as well. But you leave the friction behind because you don't actually have the normal way that double opt-in is done switched on, coming up in another episode. Now, if you want to learn more about this type of content, just check out one of my other episodes. I'll link it in the description, or if you're watching the video version of this, I'll leave a link on screen to one of my other videos, and you can go and check those out. Thank you for listening and hanging out with me, or for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.